So when you get started in any industry, you want to make sure that you look like a professional. And that's what I'm going to show you here in this video today. I'm going to give you 5 words that you should be using as a courier to use the correct terminology to make yourself look like a professional. My name's Tommy. I started and founded Tommy Courier Services. Let's get into this video and let me give you the 5 bits of terminology that every professional courier uses and that you should start using today to sound like a professional courier. So the first one right here, first bit of terminology that you need to know when becoming a courier is POD. What this stands for is your proof of delivery. This one's very easy, very straightforward. And what this would basically be, it could be a photo of the goods once you've done a delivery. It could be a signature from the person who signed for the delivery, or it could be both. You can also get a POD booklet, which you would take a picture on your phone, but then you'd also get them to fill this out. So you'd have the collection address, you'd have the delivery address, you'd have what you delivered, the quantity, and then a description of the goods. And then at the bottom, you'd put the date, you'd put the time, you'd put the person's name, and then you'd get a signature from them. That right there is the proof of delivery. Everyone in the courier industry will shorten this to just POD, but that's one bit of terminology that you need to know if you want to become a courier. Remember to get a POD on every delivery. The second bit of terminology that you need to know when becoming a courier is ETA. What this stands for is estimated time of arrival. You would use this when you're on the phone to a customer and they're asking you, what's your ETA? When are you going to be here? And you can use the word ETA to sound a lot more professional. As opposed to saying, I think I will be there at 6 p.m. You could say my ETA is 6 p.m. It makes you sound a lot more professional as a courier. And this is what, when you're communicating with larger companies, this is what they will say to you. They will say, what's your ETA? So ETA is something to remember, especially if you want to look professional as a courier. Make sure you use the word ETA, not I will be there at. The third bit of terminology that you need to know, which is very, very important when becoming a courier, is dead mileage or dead miles. What this means is, once you've done a delivery and you have an empty van, you're then driving from your delivery point back home with no goods on board. This means you're now driving dead miles. The reason we use the term dead miles is because you're not getting paid anything for that journey. So essentially it's dead, it's wasted miles. There's things you can do to reduce your dead mileage, i.e. downloading some applications on your phone, getting a large network of customers in other cities, other towns, so that when you're in these areas, you can give them a call up to reduce your dead mileage. But dead mileage is a word that you will hear very often. Dead miles, dead mileage. It just means that someone has done a delivery and now they're driving back home with an empty van, no goods on board, and they're covering dead miles, basically. The fourth word that people use a lot, which isn't specific to this industry, but is a term that you will need to know if you want to start your own courier business, is invoice. What an invoice is, it's essentially a bill, a request for money that you're going to send to your customer along with your POD, your proof of delivery, once you've done a delivery. What your invoice will include, because you will attach this with your POD. So you'll have the information for the job on the POD. But on your invoice, you will have a reference, which will probably be on your POD as well. So you'll have a reference number. You want to make sure you put that on your invoice. And then you want the customer's name, you want your name, you want what you're charging them for. I.e. you could put Heathrow to Manchester delivery, large van, 2 pallets. And you would put this as the description on your invoice. And then you would put the amount, and then you would put your bank details as to where they can pay you for this job. That's what an invoice is. That's the term invoice. You need to know this when running your courier business, because if a customer rings you up and says, yep, how can I pay you? And you say, transfer it to my bank, and they say, okay, can you send me an invoice? And you say, what is an invoice? Doesn't make you look very professional. So that's what an invoice is. You would usually email this over to your customer along with your POD after you've done the job, and you'd email them together along with your reference number, and then they would pay you and you'd get paid for the job. And the last term, one which people don't use very often, but when someone does use this, you know they're a professional in the courier industry, is hotshot. And what a hotshot is it's a way that you would describe a job that needs doing right now. A hotshot delivery job essentially means drop every other job that you're doing right now to do this job. It means this is an urgent, direct, timed, tracked, same-day delivery. There's no more urgent job that you can get in the courier industry than a hotshot job. A hotshot means my customer's paying a lot of money. They need this collected straight away to go to the delivery point straight away. So if you ever hear anyone say, I've got a hotshot job here, can I book it with you? Drop what you're doing, take that job, because it's a very, very important priority delivery. So that's your 5 pieces of terminology right there that you need to know as a courier. Your POD, your proof of delivery. Your ETA, your estimated time of arrival. Your dead miles, you're driving back home once you've done a delivery, you've got an empty van. Your invoice, your bill that you're going to send to the customer in order to get paid. And then a hotshot delivery, the most urgent delivery that you can get as a courier. That's the 5 bits of terminology that you need to know. Now go out there as a courier and start making money. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.